Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Working towards the weekend. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And plenty to do here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Lane Kiffin met with media yesterday. We kind of talked about some of that yesterday, but we will certainly revisit it coming up in 15 minutes. It is a What If Wednesday. We will get to that coming up in 30 minutes. Of course, our bi-weekly segment with the folks over at Auctioner. Dr. Jeremy Burnham going to join us. It is, for lack of a better term, elbow season, and a lot of youth parents are concerned about the amount of pitching and what symptoms could happen as those injuries happen during baseball and softball season. So we'll talk to Dr. Burnham about a little bit of that, plus some exciting news they've got over there at Auctioner. Koki Riley will be with us at 2 o'clock, 1 hour from right now. He covers the LSU baseball squad. We'll talk some LSU basketball, SEC baseball power rankings. And I'll be honest, I really try to stand by my work from 1 to 3 every day here. I try to stand by my work on LouisianaSports.net. I take pride in it. I try to do a great job. And it's not that I didn't try to do a great job this week with SEC baseball power rankings. I just don't think it's possible. It was an impossible task. So I cannot be held accountable for the power rankings that are coming your way in 90 minutes. I will give them to you, but I cannot be responsible for them because I feel great about the top 3. I feel great about the bottom 2. And 4 through 14, just shake them up and throw them on the desk. I have no idea. But I did the exercise. So we'll get to that in 90 minutes. Let's crank things up the way we do every single day with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive. Presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
All right, LSU beat Southern last night. It was late getting started, and it was late finishing because there was an hour rain delay, but they finished the game 16-6. And I told you yesterday that, look, I'm not going to overanalyze performances against way overmatched teams at this point in the calendar. LSU's bread is going to be buttered in the Southeastern Conference, and you're supposed to beat the tar out of Southern, and ultimately they did. So everything I give you is with the caveat that I know it's against Southern. I know it's in the midweek against a SWAC pitching staff with a 9 ERA that has a big-time losing record and has no business being on the field at the box far more often than they do. So with that said, let's talk about what we saw. Because I told you during the show yesterday that I wanted to see them play with some emotion. I wanted to see them continue to feel good about themselves offensively. Certainly want to see them go out there and throw strikes. You got to win the game. And I thought after a truly atrocious start, where they fall behind 6-1, and your starting pitcher is walking some guys, and then your left fielder drops a line drive, and you don't look very good. After that, they did a good job. And I think, for me, the biggest thing in this game to talk about is the quality of the contact that LSU made. I know. It's against a bunch of 87 and 88 and 89 mile-an-hour fastballs. I know. Nobody from Southern is snapping off a breaking ball that the Chicago White Sox are just dying to draft in the first round. But there's something to the rhythm of the baseball season where hard contact tends to come and go. And LSU, for too long, wasn't hitting the ball hard. When their offense was stagnant against Sacramento State, against Northeastern, at times against overmatched teams, even Louisiana Lafayette, it wasn't like LSU was striking out a ton. It wasn't like LSU looked overmatched. It just was that they weren't hitting the ball hard enough. And ultimately, when you're in the box, you can really only control two things offensively. You can control what you swing at, which I thought LSU did a pretty good job of for the most part, and you can control how hard you hit it. Now, sometimes it leaves the bat at 68 miles an hour and flares over the first baseman's head for a single. And sometimes it leaves the bat at 101 and the third baseman dives and catches it. And you can't control that. Offensively, you can control what you swing at and how hard you hit it. And I asked Jay Johnson after one of their difficult days, it was a week ago, can't remember what game, but I remember asking the question. And I remember the answer, which is the only really important thing. I said, when y'all are struggling, is it the swing decisions you're upset with or the quality of the contact that's disappointing? And he said, right now it's the quality of the contact. And as you look at this, LSU is hitting the ball harder. They left the ballpark last night 4 different times. Curiel, grand slam, was crushed. Pearson's home run flew the bleachers and left the bat at 110. And Milam homered from both sides of the plate, line drive shot to left from the right side, and more of a high, long home run over the bleacher, over the fence in right field. Those were hit very well. Dardar stung it for a triple. I thought that a lot of the contact in this game was very, very loud, and that's what you want. I thought Aaron Beatty hit his RBI single well. It was a hanging breaking ball up in the zone. It's a bad pitch, but he hammered it. I just saw more hard contact. And my feeling on this has been, for a couple of weeks, this may not be a great team. It may be a team that doesn't host a super regional. It may be a team that doesn't host a regional. It may be a team that's fighting tooth and nail down the stretch to get into the NCAA tournament. All of those may be true, but I don't think all these guys are going to hit this poorly for 56 games, or as it were, the last 40 games. I don't think Seth Dardar is going to hit 220 for the whole season, and Cade Arambidi is going to hit 240 for the whole season, and Stephen Milam's going to hit 232 for the whole season. The point goes on and on. I just don't think they're all going to do that. I don't think they're all going to perform right near the bottom of their capabilities. Guys have bad seasons all the time. One guy might not have it for a year. Bad year. But not everybody. And now you're starting to see some guys come out of it. And namely, 2 guys that are occupying spots in the lineup that have been significantly in flux all season. The 2 spots that have been in flux all year are second base and third base. You've known who your guys are in the outfield. As long as Stanfield's healthy, you got that. You know who your shortstop is, and you know who your 2 catchers are. That's not in flux. Now, first base, York's been mostly in there, but second and third have been in flux. And right now, John Pearson and Seth Dardar are those guys. Jay Johnson said last night, I like their at-bats. I think it lengthens our lineup. I feel like we can score in every inning, score 2 in every inning is what I mean by that. Seth's playing well on both sides of the ball, and I just thought we needed a jolt against Vanderbilt, and John gave us that. And you look at the statistics, and it bears that out. Since his insertion in the lineup 10 games ago, John Pearson is hitting 276, which is not a super loud average, but batting average is not everything. He's got 2 doubles, 3 homers, 13 runs driven in, and he's walked 7 times and been hit by pitches twice. He's reached 17 times in 10 games. He's also got 3 homers and 13 runs driven in. So he's reaching base and he's slugging. The OPS is way, way higher than just the 276 batting average. He's impacting the game. He's impacting the baseball. You see him, big grand slam over the weekend. You see him, huge home run over the seats in left field there. And then you've seen early in games, 2 out, base hit up the middle that you saw in a weekend series against an SEC team. So Pearson has solidified third base to an extent. And Dardar has done a really good job for the last week and a half of swinging the bats. He was the SEC Co-Offensive Player of the Week. He swung the bat really well against Kentucky, was 6 of 10 and reached base 9 times in 3 games. And that included a long 400-plus foot home run over the bleachers in right field. He started the post-rain delay festivities last night with a triple. And he's playing with some energy. He's playing with some juice. And I talked about that yesterday. I don't need 35-foot bat flips every day. But if you're going to give me a guy that's fired up to be out there, that's fired up to play for LSU, that's hitting the ball hard, that's playing hard, that's what you need. And he also made a decent defensive play last night where he had to move a little bit to his left on a sharp ground ball, and he made a nice backhand flip for a double play on kind of the same play that Braden Simpson over the weekend, or Trent Caraway over the weekend, fielded and spun and made a bad feed to Milam, who barely held the bag and couldn't turn a double play. It was well done by Dardar in that instance. He also made a couple of decent plays in the field, fielding ground balls over the weekend. Now, he did spike a double play ball on Sunday, which was not good. But, I'm not asking for perfect defense from Seth Dardar, but I am asking for him to be some version of a guy last year that hit 326 with 13 homers on an NCAA tournament team last year. That's not a fluke for a guy to hit 326 with 13 home runs for Kansas State, who was a pretty good team. He didn't do it in the Summit League. He didn't do it in the Ivy League. He did it in the Big 12. So I'm not telling you that John Pearson and Seth Dardar are locked in at third base and second base for the duration of the season, and they're going to be monster forces for the LSU lineup and continue racking up Player of the Week awards from the SEC. But they are hitting the ball hard. And one's right-handed, one's left-handed, so you don't lose too much there. It's not like you're jamming two left-handed bats or jamming two right-handed bats in there. You're staying a little bit balanced. And maybe you just need to give those guys at bats. It's going to come at the expense of Trent Caraway. It's going to come at the expense of Tanner Reeves and Braden Simpson, but that's what you got to do. And you had a lineup that was in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, and you may have some of that with Cerna and Aaron Beatty and Braun, who are all going to get at bats moving forward. But right now, it's got to be Pearson and Dardar, and those guys have been better. So maybe it was a little bit of staying warm. I'm not even going to use hot. Maybe it was just a little bit of staying warm for this LSU team. Because as I said at the top of the show, I'm not going to equate scoring 16 runs on Southern to how well you're going to light up Arvidsson and Coons on Friday afternoon in Knoxville. Those guys have big-time stuff. Tegan Coons has been their Friday night starter. He's going to come out of the bullpen likely on Friday, and he's going to be throwing 98 with a slider. And Arvidsson's been a really good arm for them. And, those guys are better than anybody Southern has or probably has ever had. So, I get it. But there's something to confidence, there's something to vibes, there's something to getting hot. And if you can add Pearson and Dardar with a little bit of consistent punch, they're not hitting second here. I need these guys to hit in the middle and down in the lineup and give a little bit of length. Give Brown some help. Give Curiel some help. Maybe Milam comes out of it. He's hit 3 home runs recently and did it from both sides of the plate last night. And now all of a sudden you're starting to find a little something out of a lineup. We'll get to this in power rankings coming up in an hour and 15 minutes. There are a lot of teams in the SEC that are struggling to find an identity, that have major flaws, that have been swept in a weekend or have lost 2 weekends. LSU's not alone in that spot. Now, they got to take care of their own corner of the store and not worry about what everybody else is doing, but I'm worried about what LSU's doing right now, and that was a little bit better from an offensive perspective, and now you put that with a really nice showing on Saturday, 7-0 win, a big offensive showing against Kentucky's bullpen on Sunday, swung the bats well against Louisiana Tech last midweek, swung the bats well against Southern. That's 4 out of 5 games. You've been decent. The SEC ace that you saw last Friday kind of puts you in a blender for a bit. But 4 out of 5 games, you've been pretty good. You've scored 15 runs in 3 of those games. Maybe there's something there. I'm not declaring it. I'm hoping. And I thought last night, though it was a brutal start to get down 6-1, to walk guys and to drop a ball in left field. It's a tough watch sometimes. But maybe they're starting to find a little bit of that offensive punch that you saw in the first 2 weeks of the season when they went to Jacksonville, when they opened the season with a terrible Milwaukee team. Maybe there's something there and they can become a little bit more offensive than they have been. That's the hope. And hopefully they feel that way when they get on the plane and head up to Knoxville. I guess tomorrow they'll head that way for a Friday series. I think LSU is the only team, LSU and Tennessee, the only 2 teams in the SEC that are not playing Thursday, Friday, Saturday on Easter weekend. That's usually how things go. I can't swear by that. I'll look for it in the commercial break, and certainly tomorrow when we talk to Joe, we'll discuss that as well. But LSU is Friday, Saturday, Sunday this week, which is rare. I'll put this in your ear for a second, and I'm not a weatherman, and things change very quickly. The forecast for Knoxville is not great on Sunday. Would not flatline stun me if they decided to bump things up and play 2 on Saturday, but that's out of my jurisdiction and certainly hasn't been decided at this point, so we'll see. But LSU's scheduled right now for Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Knoxville. All right, we'll step aside. When we come back, let's hear from Lane Kiffin. Yesterday he met with the media, and we'll kind of discuss some of the things that he had to say. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. Started up in 1910. 116 years later, they are still humming. 25 locations is what they've grown throughout southeast Louisiana, where you're down the bayou in St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne Parish, or maybe you're on the I-12 corridor in St. Tammany or Tangipahoa. Maybe you're in Metairie. Maybe you're right here around Baton Rouge, Jones Creek, Dutchtown. There is a location near you. It is a community bank. You're looking for a personal loan, they got you covered at First American Bank and Trust. You're looking for a personal loan, they got you covered at First American Bank and Trust. Just because they're a local bank doesn't mean they don't have the resources to help you out. They do. They've got 25 locations, but they're with that local feel. Every decision that's made at First American Bank and Trust is made locally right here in southeast Louisiana. So walk into one of those locations nearest you today or check them out online at FABT.com. That's First American Bank and Trust.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Do What If Wednesday here coming up in about 10 minutes. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Let me remind you about Gotro's Outdoor Power as well. Gotro's Outdoor Power. You can find them online at gotrosonline.com. Stop by 2 locations, Baton Rouge on Airline Highway, and then, of course, in Gonzales. Gotro family. Been in business 22 years here in Baton Rouge. Family-owned, family-operated. And look, you're not talking about just a little bitty old business here that they just trying to keep the doors open. You're talking about the National Hustler Dealer of the Year 2 of the last 3 years. You're talking about the largest hustler inventory in the state by a long shot. You're talking about the largest parts inventory in Louisiana. So, yeah, it is a family business, and it's one that you should patronize if you're looking for a new zero-turn mower. But it's not mom and pop shop over there. They know what they're doing. And so you may be able to get that zero-turn mower from the big box store. Sure, you can probably make that happen. What happens when you walk out the door? Do you have that customer service? Do you have the trucks that are coming to help you with parts, with delivery of your machinery if you don't have that trailer available to you? That makes a difference at Gotros Outdoor Power. Go see them, Airline Highway in Baton Rouge, Corson, Gonzales as well. GotrosOnline.com. GotrosOnline.com. All right, Lane Kiffin met with the media yesterday. He's doing so every single Tuesday. The players will meet with the media on Thursday. That's their practice schedule, Tuesday and Thursday throughout the spring. And he kind of gave an update on just how things are going.
I think that practice has gone really well. I think they're really competitive. I think that anytime you go somewhere, it has nothing to do with previous staff. You have a lot of work to do. You have a lot of work to do besides what is the obvious that everybody thinks about roster changes and portal and additions, but how you practice and how players think, to fit into the way that you want things done. So, that's a constant battle for us. So I can see that improving out there. Understanding how to practice. We want to practice really physical, but also protect the team and how that we practice. And that maybe sounds really easy, but it's challenging to get right to that middle spot of how to do that.
It's pretty obvious that far more of the learning curve is going to come on the offensive side of the football. I mean, on defense, you do have a number of new players, but you've got some holdovers, and you've got the staff that essentially was here last year. And so even though there are newcomers, they've got a system to be plugged into. Everybody is learning everything on the offensive side of things. And so Lane Kiffin talked yesterday kind of about his background in learning from these elite minds that he's been around with Pete Carroll and with Nick Saban, with his dad. And he's been with those fantastic defensive minds that have molded him as an offensive coach to cultivate his system.
I was very blessed on all those circumstances, to be born with a defensive father that communicated stuff so well. And so I would sit there and he would talk about problem plays and make cut-ups when I was really young. And so to see that and then go to Pete Carroll and then to Nick Saban, to have that and not just you're around them, but then you're the offensive coordinator for both, win national championships with both. So you're able to learn all that, somebody, like you mentioned earlier, like a cheat code of something that really was. So I'm very fortunate that way. And that stuff still happens. We still see defenses and things, obviously Pete Carroll and Nick Saban, but my dad, that, systems that people are running or certain defenses, and then we drop back to things over the years that we remember gave them problems.
Let's talk about some of the positions that they're working on. And one position that just got a complete overhaul, not unlike quarterback, and not really unlike the offensive line, but wide receiver is just completely new out there. When we go out to practice and we're looking at that group, if you don't have a roster in front of you, you can't really tell because they got a bunch of guys between 5'10" and 6'1" that can really run. And so Lane Kiffin talked about going to get some wide receivers and what he's seen from that group thus far.
Yeah, I think explosive plays are a very critical factor, always have been as you look at analytics, into winning games and being successful defensively, limiting them and having them on offense. And that's not just what you draw up. You got to have the players. So to add players that have made a number of explosive plays in the receiver room was important. We try to balance the room more. If you think of it as like, here's your cap number for a room, instead of being really top heavy with 1 and 2 and then not having depth, I think when we've been our best, it's because we've had 4 to 5 to 6 receivers that can all play really well. And so that's what we're striving for here.
And look, you look at his performance at Ole Miss last year, and it bears it out. Now, keep in mind that Ole Miss did play an extra game compared to a lot of their peers. They played 15 games. But still, when you lead the nation in 10-plus yard catches, in 20-plus yard catches, and 30-plus yard catches, you lead the country in those numbers, 10, 20, and 30. You have built that into your offense. It is something that you make a point of emphasis, and he certainly has. And so the question is, do you have those 4 to 6 receivers that you're looking for to make those big plays?
I think we have a chance to do that with the players that are out there because then we're the best for the long run of the season and potentially into postseason. And I think you got to look at that, especially as schedules get harder with the 9th game. And basically here, the way it's set up, you really have 10 basically SEC games. So it's really critical the numbers that you have there and that you can stay healthy throughout the season. And when you go to your second guys, that you're still able to put pressure on defense.
You look at this receiver group they brought in. Jace Brown has been a big play guy at Kansas State. Jackson Harris was a big play guy at Hawaii. It's a different level, but same type deal. Trey Wilson, when he was healthy, was certainly a big play guy at Florida. Lane Kiffin brought Winnie Watkins in to be a big play guy, and they feel like he can be that. Phillip Wright has elite speed and was brought to LSU as a track guy who can make plays. And the thing that I've always talked about when I watch Lane Kiffin offenses, and no one is here to listen to me talk about coverages and that type of deal. That's the morning show's lane, and they're awesome at it. But I can watch Lane Kiffin over the years and understand that what he does is he creates indecision with coordinators and players on the field on defense because he moves quickly and because his concepts are difficult. And that goes back to his time with his dad, with Nick Saban, with Pete Carroll, defensive guys, and they would tell him what they didn't like. And so Lane Kiffin's idea is to get into what you don't like, do it quickly so that you have to think about what it is you're going to do. And at that point, he's got you beat. And the best way to make indecision hurt is to put speed on the field. Because if you've got something that's slow developing or a player that's slow and the defense is indecisive, they can catch up and close. If you've got somebody that's a home run hitter and they're indecisive, they're gone. They're by you. Nothing you can do. So that's obviously an emphasis from Lane Kiffin. And they took guys from Hawaii and Old Dominion and Kansas State and Troy and a Florida D2 school. And like they taking wide receivers from everywhere. Tyree Holloway is the one I was talking about from the Florida school from a different level. But they all kind of fit a profile. It's like we're gonna go fast, and we're gonna make some big plays happen. So that's kind of a look at the offense. But I also wanted to look into team chemistry and trying to cultivate that, because that's also a challenge when you're trying to achieve very, very high goals with a bunch of new people. This is not new for Lane Kiffin. He's tried to do this a couple times at Ole Miss as well, but certainly trying to do it here. How's that team chemistry going early in spring?
I think we constantly work on that. I'm not as concerned chemistry yet because we got to get fundamentals, and like we just talked about, don't fight in practice. Like we're starting from the beginning, footwork, how to tackle without tackling, all these things. And then I think chemistry is more down the road and more of a training camp type of thing, in my opinion.
So we'll see. Right now, they're just trying to make guys better at football. And I think the evaluation period for these coaches is very, very important during the spring practice as well. It's spring ball. It's 3 weeks. Get in there, get some work done. We'll write about it. We'll talk about it. Then you got to go get yourself in shape over the summer, and then it's really time to get to work in terms of setting your depth chart in the fall and creating a game plan for Clemson week 1. You don't have time to ramp this thing up. Lane Kiffin did say yesterday, like, it takes time. He said he was careful to say it doesn't take years, but it does take time. And the issue for LSU is you open with Clemson, and whether or not you think Clemson is going to be 8th in the ACC or national title contender, I promise they're going to have some pretty good players out there. I promise they're going to have some pretty expensive coordinators that are going to be looking to score a big win. And you also have to go to Oxford in September, and there is early season action against really good teams. So you got to figure it out for Clemson and Ole Miss and Texas A&M early in the season. I'm not saying you got to figure it out right now, and obviously Lane Kiffin knows that, but you got to get it moving, and they are moving and shaking. We'll be back out there tomorrow for a Thursday workout and get your practice report on LouisianaSports.net, and we'll certainly talk about it here on the Hunt Palmer Show. Our Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. They're online at BuiltByRenaissance.com, BuiltByRenaissance.com. Looking to get in that pool? You can do it at BuiltByRenaissance.com. Got time before the summer months really heat up. Just give Joey Blanchard a call, shoot him a text. I got his number. I'll tell you about it every single Wednesday. It's, of course, 225-252-745, 225-252-7745. It's BuiltByRenaissance.com. Renaissance Homes and Pools. They bring you our Wednesday shows. We'll come back with What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com, FabryChevrolet.com. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Just been there since October 1. That's been a car dealership in the past, but under new ownership as of October 1. But they found their groove there in St. Francisville. So if you're looking for a Chevy Silverado and you want up to $11,000 off MSRP, Fabry Chevrolet GMC. You want a GMC Sierra up to $13,000 off MSRP, Fabry Chevrolet GMC. The Sierra is also 0.0 APR financing as well. You're just not going to beat that. It's not doable. But go by and see them. You're going to get a great buying experience at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. and have great service after sale. Their service department services all makes. So whatever issue you've got as you get ready for that summer road trip, kids are about to get out of school here in the next few weeks, go by Fabry Chevrolet GMC and see them. You can see the entire inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com. It's FabryChevrolet.com.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Championships are won with preparation, and so are great roofs.
The Tigers don't cut corners on the floor. Parrish Construction and Roofing won't cut corners on your home either.
Do business with someone you know. Parrish Construction and Roofing.
ParrishBuilt.com. Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your world right side up. Hire us, and like thousands of our clients, you'll be glad you did.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. You will have your pool in no time.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Lifetime Roofing, lifetimeroofingla.com is the website. And if you're looking to sell your home and you feel like you may need a new roof on that home to help the resale value, you just don't feel like you're going to get what you're looking for with that old roof, well, contact the folks at Lifetime Roofing and they'll go up there and see for you. They'll check out the status of that roof and they'll tell you, like, maybe you just need a tune-up. Maybe you just need to fortify it. You can certainly note that when you go to sell things. Maybe you need a new roof and you don't qualify to file a claim for that, so you're going to buy it retail. And they can do that for you at Lifetime Roofing, and they can finance it for you 0% up to 18 months, so you don't have to come out of pocket for the whole thing immediately. They're happy to do that for you. And look, you're going to get professional installation of that. You're going to get a local company you can trust. And they're going to have a lifetime workmanship warranty on it. That includes materials backed by Certainteed, one of the oldest, most trusted names in building materials. Also, maybe you're not looking to sell your home, but you're looking for gutters, you're looking for siding, you're looking for windows. Lifetime Roofing can handle all of those as well. Again, gutters, siding, windows. It's all available there at Lifetime Roofing. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. Check them out online, lifetimeroofingla.com. All right, Koki Riley coming up in 25 minutes. So was texting back and forth with Koki earlier. They met with Jay Johnson at noon, and Jay gave apparently a really good answer on Major League Baseball that I'll want to hear what Koki had to say. There's an update on Cooper Moore as well. He will not travel to Knoxville this weekend. That's expected. This is right about the window where he can start picking up a baseball again based on what they said a week and a half ago when he missed that start. So we'll see what Jay Johnson had to say about all that, and look forward to LSU and Tennessee with Koki coming up here in 25 minutes. But right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, so what if the official gave Dan Hurley the tech right after the logo 3?
I mean, you know my feeling on this.
Oh, I know your feeling.
You can't do it.
Oh,
There are still people, lots of them, because they come out and tweet at me constantly about how you have to play by the rules and you can't say this and you can't say that and you can't do this and it's breaking the rules. There were so many LSU fans last year that thought it was just a really good thing that Coastal Carolina's coach got tossed in the first inning of the national final on that Sunday, because you can't say that. Well, you can't argue balls and strikes. You can't argue challenge. You can't say that. It's like, well, what do you mean you can't? Like, you could, and the ump could just not do anything. And so in this instance, you hit an emotional shot like that. I realize that Hurley's a bit of a clown out there. I realize he's not exactly the best people person ever, and some of his antics I don't approve of, but I'm not giving technicals for almost anything. I will say this unequivocally. There is nothing you can say to me as a coach or a player, if I'm an official, that I'm giving a T. Nothing.
Whoa.
Nothing. What do my feelings have to do with the score of the game? Nothing.
You're a
so
strong
just
man, Hunt.
go away.
You're a strong
Just
man.
don't listen. Who cares? I would if some of these coaches that blow a gasket,
Yeah.
I would have a hard time not laughing at them.
So like Mick Cronin.
Yeah, if he's just going nuts and dropping F-bombs here and there,
Yeah.
I would look at him and go, Mick, I'm not listening. So you can continue to talk, but I'm not. And if you want to I'm just telling you so you can coach your team instead of talking. I'm not going to listen. So carry on. It's just, who cares?
You're a strong man. So Draymond Green was acted up. He's just like, all right, Draymond.
Draymond, just go to the bench. Just shut your mouth.
Okay. So what if Bryce Underwood didn't decommit from LSU?
Well, he obviously plays last year.
Oh, yeah, he does.
And the question is, like, if he plays last year and it's just okay, like it was last year for Michigan, like, is that enough for the brass at LSU, the booster base, to believe in the next 2 to 3 years with Brian Kelly?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
And my answer to that would be, I think it changes the equation.
Okay.
I think when you looked at this and said, okay, you've got your quarterback, you've got your expensive roster, your number one portal class, and this is all you can come up with, and there's nothing here beyond this because all these guys are leaving, you're out. But if you have Underwood, and yeah, okay, a lot of these defensive guys are leaving. Yeah, okay, all these wide receivers are gone, but this guy could be he could be the ticket. Okay, you got him here. Let's help.
Okay.
I think it changes things. I can't swear to that, but it's what if. The quarterback is the one position that changes the whole thing. Like point guard's okay, Friday night starter okay, but quarterback's the deal. And so if you could sell that bill of goods, then okay, it makes sense. But I don't know.
All right, so I guess my question would be, if Underwood was on the roster and he was here this whole season, do you think it would have been sooner that he would have been inserted into the starting lineup?
No, it was going to be Nussmeier's team until he couldn't. Until he just couldn't do it anymore. And that was just going to be the way it was. I mean, because Kelly did that anyway. And it's not like Bryce Underwood had way more skins on the wall than Michael Van Buren. I'm not suggesting that their futures are the same.
Yeah.
But I'm suggesting that they were reasonably similar players last year. They were okay. Underwood didn't throw many touchdowns, threw some picks.
Yeah.
I mean, they both run pretty well. Like I don't think it would have been materially different. No true freshman, talented or what, is going to come in behind that offensive line and that offensive system against that schedule and look really good. Just wasn't going to happen.
All right, so what if LSU had not lost so badly to Texas A&M?
It wasn't the loss that did it. It was the way it looked. I said that. It was. You may have had to be in the stadium. There are a lot of people listening right now that were not in the stadium that felt how terrible that was. I've been in that stadium a lot of nights. And I just don't know how many I've seen it like that. I've seen Steve Spurrier do it. I've seen Saban do it, even though I wasn't there in 2020. I've seen him go 21-0 on him, and it just didn't look good. I've seen some bad in there. This was different. I wrote about it. I talked about it on the post game. I said it on my Monday show after, and he hadn't been fired. Well, he was fired the next day, actually.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He hadn't been fired. He hadn't been fired from my post game show or my post game column.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was really bad. And so if you lose that game 27-24, like he's clearly not fired on Sunday, and then he probably finishes out the year reasonably okay because it wasn't like Oklahoma was going to blow you out. They didn't have anything on offense. Yeah, they didn't have anything on offense. They won one game. They beat Van Buren threw a late touchdown against Arkansas. Yeah, and I don't know if they would have fired him or not after the season was over, but the margin of victory made it inevitable.
Okay, so what if you can only have one wing flavor and one dipping sauce?
I'm gonna get raked over the coals for this because it's not traditional, and it's just not. But
okay.
I'm going garlic parm.
Ooh, wet or?
I prefer that to be a dry rub.
Okay, dry rub. Okay.
And blue cheese. Blue cheese is the ticket.
Okay, I love blue cheese too. I can get jiggy with some blue cheese. Mine, I'm more either lemon pepper. I love me some lemon dry. Love lemon pepper dry, or if I'm really got a little bit of money in my pocket, I might get a hot lemon pepper. Mix it up. Might go wet with that one because the wet with the hot lemon, it just, oh my god, chef's kiss. So
I just
blue cheese.
I don't even eat wings with sauce, like saucy wings, once a year.
Yeah,
I don't even eat them once a year.
Messy wing guy.
Yeah, I would rather just the dry stuff, and I only eat that a couple times a year.
Yep.
I like wings. I don't love wings. I don't have to have them.
Ooh. I love me some wings.
Somebody orders wings, I'm eating the wings. I'm happy to eat wings. I don't seek wings.
So like, you're not on, let's say a Friday night, like, I'm about to get some wings tonight.
Nah,
that's not you. You're not.
It's not gonna happen.
But if it's like I go to a tailgate, they got some wings there.
I'm definitely getting in. I'm getting in on that for sure. Okay. But it's just not something I seek out.
Okay.
All right, that's it for What If Wednesday. We come back. If you're a parent of somebody in youth baseball, youth softball, and they're pitching, and this is new to you, and I'm telling you, the injuries are happening younger and younger these days. I feel like it's that time of year to maybe have that discussion. Plus, you've got a situation where LSU's got a starting pitcher that doesn't have an elbow issue, but does have an arm issue. I want to talk about a little bit of that with Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Oxnard. And he's got some really cool information about the grant that they've got dealing with ACL injuries, which is also something that happens a good bit at the high school level and certainly at college and the pro level. So we'll talk to Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Oxnard when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Speaking of Oxnard, it's a brand new month. It's time to change the talking points up a little bit. If you're wondering which Oxnard location you need to go to for your particular symptoms, let's kind of lay it out for you. You got a primary care doctor. That's comprehensive. It's continuous. So you're looking for annual checkups, immunizations, maybe headache or low back pain, something that doesn't feel imminently dangerous to you. That's when you're looking at your primary care doctors. Urgent care needs more immediate attention. You're talking about sprains, lacerations, urinary pain, a cough, cold, sore throat, maybe burns that are minor, rashes. They're talking about non-life-threatening allergic reactions, that type of deal. And walk-ins are certainly welcome at Oxnard for that. Emergency care, that's chest pain. That's severe bleeding. That is head trauma. That's something that needs to be looked at immediately. That includes dehydration as it starts to get a little bit warmer, loss of consciousness, severe allergic reactions. These are the type of things that you're looking for your emergency room. They've also got 24/7 virtual care Oxnard with options with their My Oxnard virtual visits. So it's an additional resource there to call Oxnard at 1-800-231-5257. But the point being, there's always an Oxnard location that is available to help you no matter what your situation may be. So find them online. That's Oxnard.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. Time now for Sports Health, presented by Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Dr. Jeremy Burnham, our guest from Auctioner. Dr. Burnham, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Hunt. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's baseball season, which is my favorite time of year, but I think in your world that may mean a little bit of elbow season as well. I was looking at my notes earlier. Like South Carolina's ace is out for the year. Texas A&M's best reliever's out for the year. LSU's got a weekend started down. Mississippi State's ace is missing a little bit of time as well. And all the injuries are a little bit different. And it's not just guys that throw 100 miles an hour that have elbow problems this time of year. I know that you all see that, especially with some youth sports.
Yeah, absolutely, Hunt. And, you know, it's almost getting to the point where when is it not baseball season, right? Especially down here in the South. I think we have baseball year-round. And but we do see the number of arm injuries ticking up this time of year, unfortunately.
Is that due to kids playing too much of the calendar, in your opinion, some of it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're seeing these injuries earlier and earlier. And you know, I think it's difficult as somebody who loves sports and grew up around sports, and everything I do is kind of involved in that. There are a lot of sports lessons that are learned through learning how to deal with discomfort, right? And so that's part of sports, that's part of conditioning, learning how to work hard and do those things. But there are certain types of pain that's not discomfort that actually represents injury, and we want our parents and athletes to know what to look out for.
So what could a parent be on the lookout for when you're talking about potential baseball and arm injuries?
The biggest thing is pain on the inside of the elbow. I mean, you mentioned you don't have to be throwing 100 miles an hour to injure the inside of your elbow. A lot of people hear about Tommy John surgery. Tommy John surgery is something that's done to heal or to repair a torn ulnar collateral ligament, a torn UCL. So it's a ligament on the inside of the elbow. And, it used to be something that you would see in more mature athletes, professional, collegiate baseball pitchers would have these injuries, but we're starting to see them in younger athletes as well. A lot of these athletes are still growing and their body really hasn't caught up to them. And so I tell all my, patients, all their parents, if your kid has pain on the inside of their elbow when they're throwing, that's not just discomfort to push through. That's something to take a break, to stop throwing. And then if it doesn't go away, you got to get that assessed.
No question about it. And you see so many kids that are specializing at such a young age that can cause burnout just mentally, and then physically there can be some lingering effects of that as well. You sent me some interesting statistics on NFL first-round picks. Like 88% of them were multi-sport high school athletes, and less than half of pro baseball athletes specialized in baseball. It surprised me a little bit because of just how much baseball you play. You can't really play a lot of spring football, but baseball kind of goes year-round. But there's just a lot of value medically in your estimation in terms of just mixing things up and doing different things year-round.
Yeah, that's right. And, we work real closely with Dr. Andrews, Dr. James Andrews, and he was one of the people that really first really popularized this Tommy John surgery. He was having a lot of athletes from all over the country come to him. And he's really made it a point later in his career as a Louisiana native to really try to make an impact on the youth injury rates. And one of the things that he always says is that you need to take, as a youth athlete, you need to take 2 or 3 months minimum. He recommends 4 months off of whatever sport you're playing, particularly baseball, because of the torque that it puts on the elbow. That's a hard thing to do. I mean, I have young kids that are playing sports, and there's a lot of pressure, peer pressure, I think, both for my kids and as a parent for your kid to play one sport 12 months a year. But based on what I see in my clinic, it's not the right thing. You mentioned the vast majority of NFL first-round picks, they did not specialize in a single sport in high school. Less than half of Major League Baseball athletes specialized in baseball. And the interesting thing is the people that did specialize in baseball in high school, they did not start specializing in baseball until the average age of 14. And then if you dig into those stats a little more, 70% of youth athletes quit sports completely by the age of 13. And that's a pretty big deal. And if you specialize in a sport before the age of 12, your risk of dropping out of sports completely is more than double somebody that plays multiple sports. And so there are just tremendous benefits to playing more than one sport. I think if baseball is your sport, I think playing other sports probably helps you in baseball more than you realize, in addition to helps you stay healthy.
I know for a fact that Jay Johnson loves guys that played quarterback in high school, loves guys that are athletic enough to do other things for sure. He's head coach of the best program in the country, right down the street there.
That's right.
You also told me an interesting deal about a grant that y'all were awarded last week. When I think about ACL recovery, I don't immediately think about oxygen, but that's something obviously that's vital. Can you tell us what y'all are working on?
Yeah, so, as you know, we have an ACL Center of Excellence over at the Elite Training Complex, and a big focus, speaking of youth injuries, right, a big focus as far as trying to prevent ACL injuries. And we had a guest speaker down several months ago that is one of the Cleveland Browns team doctors. And, Cleveland is really kind of a hub for orthopedic and sports innovation. So they came down here to do a guest lecture and give us a talk. And while we were discussing things, they were talking about some of the technology they're using around ACL injury prevention and ACL recovery. And one of the things is they were looking at some surface-mounted oxygen sensors to try to look at how well that muscle is oxygenating. And so, with that started, it sparked an interest in our research team, and we applied for a competitive grant with the Louisiana Orthopedic Association. Tommy Drazik is the primary investigator on that grant. He's from Wyoming. He's going to be an orthopedic surgeon. He just graduated med school, and he's spending a year with us basically to help develop some of these research protocols. And so he applied for this grant, competitive process, and we got some grant funding. And what we'll be doing is using these wearables on the quad muscles. The thigh muscles are so important to protect the knee. And that's whether you're rehabbing from an ACL injury or whether you're playing sports and you've never torn your ACL. And so we're going to be using this technology to try to monitor how well that oxygen gets to the thigh muscle and help change what we do from a rehab and an injury prevention standpoint to try to have better outcomes.
It's incredible stuff that happened right here in our backyard in Baton Rouge. Dr. Burnham, that's exciting, and we appreciate a little bit of time. We'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Thanks. Great talking to you, Hunt.
Dr. Jeremy Burnham from Ochsner, good enough to give us a little bit of time here. It's something that I'll have to deal with as a dad here moving forward. I got a kid that's just eating up with sports and is getting into T-ball right now where there's no rules, regulations, or anything. But on this path, he's going to be playing sports around the clock is my sincere guest. And so I know there's a lot of parents that listen, certainly as we get into carpool line hours is what we kind of work here from 1 to 3. There are some things that you got to look out for, and especially as chilly as it is when we start baseball around here. You're starting things in January and February when it's cold, and guys, young people may not have gotten their arms ready to get going. Major League Baseball takes things really seriously, and it's a very slow ramp up. But if your kid's got some pain in the elbow, not really cool to fight through it. Something you probably want to look at, because it doesn't. Now you're looking at kids 13, 14, 15, maybe having to go under the knife because things that happen with the elbow. So thought it was a good idea to get Dr. Burnham on to talk about that, and we appreciate a little bit of his time. Missed any of our first hour, talked to LSU baseball at the top, some Lane Kiffin, LSU football there as well. You can catch all that Hunt on LSU on YouTube, and certainly wherever you find your podcasts. A second hour, we got a lot to get to. Koki Riley is going to be with us in 5 minutes. He was with Jay Johnson at noon, so we'll hear the latest from the LSU head baseball coaches. They get ready to go to Tennessee. Also talk a little bit of Saints, and we got my SEC baseball power rankings coming your way in 35 minutes. Our Wednesday shows are brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Find them at builtbyrenaissance.com. After Sports Center, we're back for hour 2.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Call Neil and Melissa. Get that Generac home standby generator put in. It just gives you peace of mind to know that you're not going to lose power. It happens all the time down here. Sometimes you don't even know why, but sometimes we do. You got those nasty summer thunderstorms that roll through that can knock your power out. We had one come through as Paul Skeens was towing the rubber against Tennessee in the College World Series opener at my house. I had to leave. Not great. You also have hurricanes. We know that. You also have winter events like we did. Sometimes bad drivers hit electrical poles. It's a nuisance at best, and it's a big, big deal at worst if you've got young kids at home and you don't have air conditioning, or you try to work at home and you can't get that done. Get that Generac home standby generator put in from the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical. Give them a call at 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389 in Gonzales. Locally owned and operated for over 40 years. It's Boudreaux's Electrical. You can find them online at boudreauxelectrical.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn in Baton Rouge. From trees and shrubs to plants and pottery, the Plant Barn has it all at great prices. Visit us today on Valley Street, right off Perkins Road in South Downs.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home, with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit LouisianaPropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The NFL Players Association showing its support for NFL referees in CBA negotiations with the league. NFLPA in a statement voiced opposition to using replacement refs, citing safety concerns, said the risk of player injury will rise because less experienced refs are more likely to miss calls or respond late in critical moments. NBA Spurs tonight seek to run their winning streak to 10 when they take on the Warriors, 10 Eastern ESPN. Other than continuing to chase OKC for the top spot in the West, there's not a lot San Antonio needs to do with the regular season winding down, says ESPN's Iman Shumpert.
They've already showed people they're contenders. They are showing people that they are part of this party. They are part of the Western Conference, whether they have experience or not. They have hungry guys, and they have a guy in Victor Wembanyama that wants to say that he is the number one player in the NBA. He is what people are coming to see.
Baseball, after a disaster of a start on opening day, Pirates ace Paul Skeens' second start of the season today. A run, 3 hits, 5 Ks in 5. Pirates up on the Reds 4-3, bottom 8.
Confetti Craze 5-Hour Energy tastes like straight-up birthday cake. Vanilla, buttery, funfetti flavor in one tiny bottle. It's all cake, no sugar, and perfect when I need a quick, tasty caffeine boost. Get yours today at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half the work week is in the rearview mirror, working towards the weekend. Maybe you're not working on Friday. We will not be working on Friday, so you're really getting close to that weekend at this point, if that's the case. Somebody that's probably working this weekend is Koki Riley, covers the LSU baseball team for the Advocate. Tigers headed to Knoxville to play the Tennessee Vols after a couple of weekends at home. Koki joins us on Wednesdays, top of hour number 2, does so now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Koki, how are you?
Going pretty well. How's it going?
Going quite well. Would you characterize the weekend for LSU as a success against Kentucky?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, just keeping your head above water in conference play from a record perspective, just like the simple results of it. I think the results were undeniably successful. Whether the process was good and the actual play was good, that's a whole other conversation. But I think it's kind of hard to deny that, like, it was a successful weekend from the fact that you win the series. You're now only 4-5 in conference play. Everyone's talking about how, like, Arkansas and Auburn are these dangerous teams heading into the year. Well, now you have a better conference record than those teams, at least with Auburn. I'm pretty sure with Arkansas as well. So they're in a very interesting spot here, because it feels like for about a month, it felt like the sky is falling, and yet, like, if you look at just like the simple record and the conference record, the sky actually isn't falling. Like, they have a little bit of room to work with here, and I think these next 2 weekends again are just going to be absolutely huge, because they're on the road and they're against teams that are beatable. At least one team that's beatable. So it'll be interesting to see.
What do you make of the offense? The run production is higher. I wouldn't suggest that they're teeing off on first-round picks routinely, but do you feel like they're making progress?
They're doing a better job of capitalizing on bad pitching, and Jay Johnson agreed with that assessment today, and that is key, because you need to do that when you're going into a Sunday now where you don't really have a third starting pitcher. And if you can put up 13, 14 runs reliably, it makes life a lot easier. And they might they're at least close to that, if not there right now with the offense. And I mean, the 7 runs they scored on Saturday was pretty solid too. And they had a lot of trouble against Jokin. He's a really good pitcher. I don't think this team is at the point where they can capitalize on really good pitching offensively, and they may not get there. But they're at the point now where you feel more comfortable against when they're facing middle of the road or even bad pitching. And they're just doing a much better job of teeing off on that stuff. And you're just seeing that in the results and right now. So it's definitely promising signs for them overall just in terms of the play.
Seth Dardar and John Pearson have kind of dug their heels in at those spots for the time being. How big a deal is that?
I think it's a huge deal just to, get more, just to lengthen out the lineup, have 2 guys that have, defended their positions adequately. I would say it's gone great for John Pearson at third base. He made a tough error last night. But I think Seth Dardar is looked actually pretty good at second base. He's fielded his position fine, and he's turned some really nice double plays. And he just looks more natural at that position than some of the other guys that they've thrown there. And I think Jack Ruckert also looks pretty natural there, but he's also made a lot of mistakes. So I think right now that Dardar is almost certainly your guy because of not just, the seemingly improved, at least for the moment, defense, but also offensively. He is hitting the crap out of the ball, and that is huge for this team. And they really, really needed a guy like him, a guy like Zach York, a guy like Aaron Beatty, a guy, even, someone like John Pearson stepping up to lengthen out this lineup. And they've kind of gotten that against, middling to bad pitching. So
you look at Case and Evans' line from Friday, and it was 6 innings, 4 earned runs. And on its face, that's not terrible. But based on what he did against Oklahoma and based on the bar at LSU, it kind of changes the conversation. How do you feel about Evans after his outing against Kentucky?
Well, that outing against Kentucky was kind of emblematic of his season so far, right? Yeah. Where he's awful for 3 innings. I mean, he walked 6 batters. I think he hit another. And he was just awful. I don't know how else to describe it. And then the next 3 innings, he was great. I think he retired 9 of his last 10 batters or something like that. So it's in there. It's just they got to find a way to get it more consistent. And that might take until next year. The fact that they have him for another year is pretty scary for the rest of the SEC because if this kid can figure it out, even if he doesn't figure it out this year, he'll probably be able to figure it out next year. At least you're willing to bet on that. And I mean, if he's throwing 50 strikeout, 7 2/3 inning games against regional quality teams, regional host quality teams, then that is very scary for a junior season. But we're talking about this year and right now, and it's in there. But can they get it from a week-to-week basis? And that's what you need from your Friday starter. And that's probably the biggest question mark with this rotation at the moment, outside of the Cooper Moore thing. Yeah. But I think the offense and their recent, resurgence against, Saturday, Sunday mediocre pitching, as I guess is something you can sort of point at and be like, hey, they may be able to survive some of this, even if going into Fridays, you don't know what's going to happen.
Koki Riley is our guest, covers the LSU baseball beat for The Advocate. You mentioned Cooper Moore a couple of times there. I probably buried the lead, but I know y'all talked to Jay 2 hours ago, and that came up. What can you tell us about Cooper Moore?
Yeah, it looks like his timeline is more or less the same from the one we heard earlier. It sounds like he's not going to get back to being a starter who can throw, 5, 6, 7 innings immediately off the shoot, which that just makes sense. You need a build-up time for that. So it's probably going to be, last couple weeks of the season before we see him in a real starter's capacity if everything goes to plan. But I think we'll see him in the Texas A&M series in some form or fashion, and that definitely helps this team. So they still are going to have to rely on these guys in terms of just the depth of their bullpen moving forward for the majority of this conference play, and that's something you weren't really anticipating heading into the season, really. So that's definitely not good for them. But at the same time, the fact that he's coming back at all when you saw that it was pretty much an arm injury that he suffered against Oklahoma, I guess that's a win in a way as well. So yeah, it looks like he's going to be back by that Texas A&M series. It's very doubtful that he pitches the next 2 weekends but he's out for this weekend entirely. So, yeah, that's kind of where he's at the moment.
Let's talk about the bullpen. There was a time there where Guidry and Sheeran were the two shutdown guys. They were filling the Griffin Herring / Cowan Evans role from last year that Shores assumed eventually. Clearly, Cowan has worked his way into that over the last 2 weeks, but where are they with Guidry and Sheeran?
With Guidry, he's just got to pitch better, and I don't think it's anything more complex than that. The Sheeran thing's a little weird because he's gotten hit hard in some instances, but he's also kind of pitched better as he's gone deeper into some of these longer relief outings. The stuff is still very much there. I'm not that worried about him. Maybe he's not going to end the year with I don't think he's probably not Casey Evans or Zach Cowan good right now, at least. But can he be like what Chase Shores was for you at the end of last season? Absolutely. And probably end the year with better overall numbers than Shores had, because remember, he still ended the year with like a 5 ERA. This is really Zach Cowan's bullpen right now, and that's something that we had some pretty major questions about after he really struggled in non-conference play. But he's kind of your lead guy who can help close out a game like he did on Saturday, with Schmidt getting the first 5 1/3 and then him just throwing the next 3 2/3 to end the ball game. If you can get that out of one day, and then you can sort of piece things together on the other day, whether that's Casey Evans shoving and getting a couple other guys to fill the gap, or just the offense going nuclear like it did on Sunday. That's kind of the formula for this team to win a series. And I don't expect them to sweep any of these series moving forward, just because they just don't. Without Cooper Moore, you don't really have the pitching depth to do it, even if the offense is playing well. So, that's just kind of where I am right now. Although I guess you could argue that if Casey Evans just throws strikes, they sweep Kentucky. That's not totally off the table. So, I think that's kind of where this team is at right now.
Where do you think Jay thinks they are? He's it's been interesting to watch him kind of battle through this over the last month. What was your impression today?
He felt pretty upbeat today. Pretty upbeat, pretty optimistic, especially about the offense. Okay. And we didn't really go too deep into the Gavin Guidry part of this. But in terms of the pitching, this team has a lot of guys where you flip a coin and they're either great, or the coin flips the other way and they're not great.
Right.
Think of Santiago Garcia. He's been better. There's been more times where he's been good than not. You think of Gavin Guidry, even think of a lot of these guys where it's in there, but can they get it consistently enough to where you can really rely on these guys in tight games? Maverick Rizzi's is kind of a perfect example. He's like a poster child version of this. So that's the bullpen right now, and I feel like that's what Jay feels like with his team as well, with the bullpen. And you kind of know what you have with the starters. You kind of know what you have. You're having a better feel of what you have offensively as well. So this team has kind of slowly but surely improved to the point where now you're heading into this big weekend. You don't feel terrible about your team. You're facing a Tennessee team that's pretty flawed. And
yes.
So that's just kind of where you're at right now. You're only 4-5 in SEC play. It's not that bad. So that's where they are. That's where they're at right now.
So I have one more here for you on that bullpen, and this may be a longer answer, and I don't mean to put you in that position, but you mentioned Rizzi, and you mentioned Guidry, and you mentioned Garcia. I would put Plog in there as guys that sometimes you bring them in there.
Yeah.
And they're just 2-0, 3-0 to everybody. They're throwing 3-0 fastballs that miss by 1.5 feet. And so I'm curious if you think there's an opportunity for some of these guys that he's put in there recently, like Lockenmeyer and Benj, who more or less throw to the plate. It doesn't look like those other guys in terms of stuff, but do you think he'll shift towards some other guys who maybe throw it over the plate more often? Because you're not going to be able to manage with getting behind 2-0, 3-0, and walking guys as often as they're doing right now.
Well, part of it's philosophical, and it's something that they do not want pitchers who pitch to contact. Like, they have very specifically built this entire staff on guys who are going to get the swing and miss, who are going to get you out of a tight situation with a strikeout. And if we have more walks because of it, let the torpedoes be damned. Like, that's kind of the attitude. But there have been times of, as you said, and as we've seen plenty of times this year, where it's like the walks are so much that it's just like way too much to overcome, and it's not worth the trade-off you get and stuff. These guys could be more like Devin Sheeran, where you're probably walking one or two too many guys, but you're throwing enough strikes and the stuff is so good that it's more than worth it, right? Like, that's kind of what you want. And right now there's too many guys who aren't on that side of, or they're not on that side of it consistently enough for you to feel really good about this bullpen. But I'm glad you mentioned Lockenmeyer. I don't think Lockenmeyer doesn't have the best stuff on the team. He's got a pretty good breaking ball. He's more over the top as a left-hander. They just haven't really used him a whole bunch this year, but when he's pitched, he's been all right.
Yeah.
He's generally thrown strikes. He threw strikes last night. They've tipped their, I'd say they dipped their toe in the water on him a couple times in these SEC games. I think he threw third of an inning in the last two, definitely a third of an inning this past weekend. So I'd like to see him more, because he can throw strikes. I don't think the stuff is bad at all, even if he's not, Devin Sheeran. And I think that and maybe Benj is an option too, because he's throwing the ball a little bit better lately. But Benj, if you remember, he's got a history of throwing a lot of balls too.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure they want to lean on him too much to throw strikes, I guess. So maybe Dax Daffney could be an option for them again. So there's plenty of bodies. It's just like who's actually going to show up on that day is the major question, So
it certainly is. Are you headed to Knoxville?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, safe travels up there, and we'll talk next week.
Yep, will do. Thanks.
Koki Riley with The Advocate. It certainly is philosophical in terms of missing bats. They've led the nation in strikeouts 2 years in a row. They lead the SEC by more than 20 this year. And there is some merit to that when your fielding is very iffy, which there is. The best way to take care of that is to strike guys out. And so you got to take a trade somewhere. If you're going to take a trade, well, we're going to give up some more walks, but we're going to strike some more guys out. That's one trade. The other trade would be, okay, we're going to strike less guys out, but we're going to walk less, but we're going to kick some balls around on the infield. There's not a perfect solution. And philosophically, I think Koki's right. They want to strike guys out. So even if you think you might have a guy that's going to go out there and that might not have it that day, and he might throw 6 straight balls, we've seen it. Jay Johnson will bounce out of the dugout and go get the next guy that can strike somebody out. That's the way they've done things. So appreciate Koki for a little bit of time here on this Wednesday. We'll take a time out. Come back with more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge, swingeasygcbr.com. Got family coming in for a holiday weekend, looking for something to do. Maybe the weather's not perfect this weekend. Could be some rain in the forecast. Doesn't mean you can't play golf. You can play golf at Swing Easy Golf Club. Bring a crew in there. They got the turtle box set up. You can blare some music. You can watch some TV. And you can play Pebble Beach. You can play Cypress Point. You can play St. Andrews. You can play where they play that tournament in a couple of weeks that hands out the nice jacket. That's on the simulator as well. Can't tell you about it, but it's there. You go check it out. It's a great place to hang out. And if you got family and you're not sure how to entertain, but you want to go play some golf and don't want to spend 5 hours or have to dodge rain showers or don't have a tee time already and it's Wednesday, Swing Easy Golf Club can be your spot. They're on Segan at Perkins. So stop on by, book a tee time online at swingeasygcbr.com. That's swingeasygcbr.com. Swing Easy Golf Club.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at lockmeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Brought to you every single Wednesday by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. It is still not too late to get into that pool during prime swimming months here in South Louisiana. We know the weather is heating up, but if you're looking for that swimming pool you've always wanted, you can still reach out to Joey Blanchard at Renaissance Homes and Pools, who's the owner, by the way, and make that dream a reality starting this summer. Shoot him a text. That's the best way to get in touch with Joey. I give you the text line for the owner of the company here every single Wednesday, 225-252-7745. Again, 225-252-7745. Say, hey, heard about you on Hunt Show, want to talk pools, and he'll be happy to do it. He'll sit with you for the consultation. He will sit with you for the design. He'll be there when they dig it. He'll be there when they fill that pool and finish it. That's the beauty of working with a local company like Renaissance Homes and Pools, because you're with the owner every step of the way. If you're looking for your forever home, you want to build that. Joey's done it for dozens and dozens of people around Baton Rouge, and he can do that for you. Looking for an outdoor kitchen, creating that outdoor entertainment space that you've always wanted. Joey can make that happen. Start now so you've got it before football season when you want to do that kind of thing in the fall. BuiltByRenaissance.com is the website. You can see pictures and some designs. They're great work. And text Joey, 225-252-7745. BuiltByRenaissance.com is, again, the website. All right, I think y'all that listen often understand that I don't do this a ton. And so when I do, I want it to kind of like hold a little bit of weight when I mention it. I did have some conversations inside LSU basketball over the last 3 days. I'm just kind of seeing what's going on over there. And obviously there's a changing of the guard happening. And there are still remnants of the McMahon program that are in the building, and there certainly is a new man in charge in that building and a new man in charge of kind of running the administration there with Heath Sawyer as well as Will Wade. So right now, there's a bit of a holding pattern. When you look at some of these guys, like there are guys that were on last year's team that don't have any more eligibility left. Like Max McKinnon is gone. Rashad King is gone. PJ Carter is gone. Pablo Tamba is gone. Markel Sutton is gone. Like these guys don't have any eligibility left. You look in the transfer portal, which is not open yet, and Deon Thomas has announced his intention to enter the transfer portal. Mozzie Mosley has done the same thing. We've got a tracker up at louisianasports.net reflecting that. But there are also some other guys who are still here. They're in school, and they're going to meet with Will Wade. Some of them have met with Will Wade, and you'll just kind of see how that moves forward. Wade said at his introductory press conference on Monday, like, I'm going to meet with or have met with all the players. We had a lot of seniors last year, but we're going to meet with everybody. If people want to come back, we'll make them part of the program. He mentioned Skylar May as the guy that came back and was a big part of things. So you're looking at names like Mike Nwoku, who has another year of eligibility remaining. He was a junior. You're looking at Jalen Reese, who I thought had a really nice go as a freshman point guard. Robert Miller just finished his sophomore year at 6'10" as a quality defender. Jalen Reed is so much up in the air because of the last 2 years of his career, and you certainly hope he can return to help. And if it's at LSU or not, I just hope he can play a season next year. Just so disappointing for him to have missed the last 2 years. Matt Gilhole was a 6'11" freshman that redshirted last year that's got some time. Ron Zipper played last year as a freshman from Israel who has eligibility remaining. And Will Wade will talk to those guys, and they'll all figure out best way to go. But as of right now, it's not as if the door's been slammed. I know there's been a lot made of staffers on Will Wade's staff. Will Wade did not want to comment on that on Monday. I kind of asked around a little bit, and of course you've seen the names that have surfaced. You've seen Rick Stansberry's name surface. Tyker Ragg mentioned that. You've seen Johnny Jones' name being floated as well. I can tell you that as of right now, they are not in Baton Rouge. They are not part of the program. They are not officially part of anything. And to this point, some folks have reached out to them, and there's been kind of silence on that end. So there is not a lot going on publicly. I'm confident that Will Wade has a lot of wheels moving privately. And you know what? That might kind of be how things go this time around. You know? Maybe not as much on the cell phone. Maybe more so conversations. Maybe more so business deals as opposed to things going on in the shadows. I do know that Will Wade was shaking hands and kissing babies, for lack of a better term, last night. And they are making every effort to get a portion of a staff put together in the next 5 days. That's not to be the entire staff. That's not what's going to go on. But he's going to want to have 3-ish assistants in place, ready to go when the portal opens. That's important. Now, sometimes those assistants are working other places. You've got to agree to terms of contracts. All these things have to be put into place. And right now, officially, that has not been done. So you're talking about a program from a McMahon standpoint that has some players and some staffers who are still on the payroll that are still with LSU basketball. If you go in the gym today, you will see some of that. Because whether or not those guys or those staffers or those players are going to be at LSU moving forward, they're going to be somewhere in basketball. So you're working. They're working. And if you look at the Wade side of the program, you've got Will Wade, who knows where his office is. You've got Heath Schroyer, who told Matt on his show on Monday that he almost burned the place down trying to make a cup of coffee, but he's learning where his office is. And that's kind of the operation right this second at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. I would suspect over the next 72 hours that things start to become more concrete. But today, they're not. It's not as if you've got Will Wade staffers working phone lines with agents out in public right now. But they're going to be prepared for the portal period. That was the point of going ahead and paying the $4 million to NC State instead of waiting a week and cutting them a check for $3 million, right? You paid an extra $1 million to get this thing moving quickly, and that's what they plan to do. So I had conversations. The word awkward was used at one point to talk about the program that has kind of ended and the new one that's coming in. And I've heard that on the football side too. Keep in mind, they just did this in football as well, where you had a staff that was working on a bowl game and had relationships with those players, and there was a signing period to be had, and then you had a new staff coming in, but some of that staff was coaching in the bowl game in the playoff with McNeese, and so there was not a bowl game with McNeese, the playoff with Ole Miss, and so I'm hearing some of the same things on basketball that I did on football. It's very natural, it's very common, but any report right now about folks on Will Wade staff that are working for LSU are a little bit premature. I think that will come in a little bit of time, but it was interesting to kind of peel back that a little bit. Understandably, over the last 8 weeks, I just haven't dug into LSU basketball much. I haven't had conversations with LSU basketball. I haven't done, because nobody knew. They knew that there was a possibility at the end what was going on, but LSU wasn't going to tip its hand until you saw the last 10 days. That's when it started ramping up. But now I think it's relevant to have that conversation. Nobody's dealing with any games anymore. It's all about the future. That goes for the people at LSU who were here with McMahon. That goes for the people that will be here with Will Wade. It's all about the future from now. So now things, I think, will start to happen a little bit more quickly. I realize that 10 minutes did not break any news, did not unearth something unbelievable, but I checked. I think that's my job at this point, and I can tell you what I found out, and it's that there's a little bit of a holding pattern. I would not expect it to last too much longer at this point. Little LSU Hoops update here on this Wednesday. All right, I told you at the top of the show. I told you at the top of the show. I did my power rankings today for SEC baseball. They're right here. There were 7 sweeps this past weekend, okay? Every team in the Southeastern Conference, except LSU, has been on one end of a sweep. All 15 of them. It is made for chaos. The standings are chaos. My rankings are chaos. I don't even know if I can stand by them. But I'm going to give them to you when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
I'll stand by Marucci. Marucci's awesome. Official bat of Major League Baseball. The Cubs did not use their Marucci bats last night. They got shut out. But they were using some because Marucci's the official bat of Major League Baseball. If you want to see where 1,200 of the best bats in the world are made every single day, you can check out Marucci with a campus tour. If you want to hear about how a place went from a backyard shed to a global brand, you can take a Marucci campus tour. And best of all, if you buy that ticket for the campus tour, whether you buy it for your family, you buy it for your youth baseball team, your youth softball team, buy it for the crew that's coming in for Easter, you will get 20% discount in the campus tour store and in the Hitter's House with that campus tour tickets. Go to maruccisports.com/campus-tour and buy that campus tour ticket today. maruccisports.com is where you can find them. maruccisports.com.
The Cane's Box Combo, a symphony of flavors. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Transform your living space with Lacoste & Young Remodeling and take your home from outdated to outstanding. Redefine your kitchen for the ultimate culinary experience or elevate your daily routine with a spa-worthy bathroom retreat. Our skilled team brings 3D modeling to life to ensure your vision becomes a reality. We believe luxury should be accessible and offer tailored solutions to fit your budget without compromising quality. So contact us today for a free estimate. Lacoste & Young Remodeling, providing perfect solutions for your dream home.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan & Associates, we know each case and client are unique and that no 2 cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me. Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here. Helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Everything you need for a stunning garden is at the Plant Barn.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
I'll tell you about the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at highlandig.com, highlandig.com. If you're a sizable business and you have not been presented a captive by your insurance broker, the question I would ask is why? Because if you're paying significant premium, you've got good loss history, you've got great risk management, you might be a fit for a captive, and it might be a complete game changer for your business financially in terms of your insurance cost. If you haven't seen it, you need to ask why. And if your broker doesn't have access to a captive or doesn't have a grasp on captives, you may need to call the Highland Insurance Group. In fact, you probably do. Jonathan Carbo and his team deal with captives every single day. And if you may be a fit, again, it could be a game changer for your bottom line. It's a completely different way to handle your insurance costs. Forever and ever and ever, you've just been dumping money in premiums, and that'd be the end of that. And then the next year comes, and that's a 6% increase, and you dump in the money on premium, and you're not getting anything back on claims because you're not having any claims, and you dump the premium back in. Maybe there's a way to dump the premium back in, and if nobody uses it, you might get a little dividend coming back. That's the way captives work ideally. And if you're a fit for one, contact Jonathan DeCarbo and the Highland Insurance Group and see if you can't completely change the way you're handling your insurance costs. The Highland Insurance Group, they're online at highlandig.com. All right, 7 sweeps this past week. Everybody has either swept somebody or been swept. You've got ridiculous results that have been going on week in and week out. Alabama's getting swept by Kentucky. Then they're sweeping Florida. Then they're sweeping Auburn. You've got a situation where Vanderbilt's sweeping Tennessee. They're getting swept at Mississippi State. You got Ole Miss, who's winning a series against Kentucky and then getting swept with not competitive action against Mississippi State at all. You've got Missouri, who's being kind of plucky. South Carolina, who's being kind of plucky, but they're not winning any games. You've got Texas A&M, who, can't win a game against quality team, but it's just a mess in the Southeastern Conference. And I tried to put it together the best I could. I don't feel great about it. I've got one team that moved 5 spots to the good. I got one team that moved 7 spots to the good. I got one team that dropped 6 spots. Nobody between the 5 spot and the 14 spot stayed the same. And that's the point. 4 to 14 is a complete crapshoot for me in these power rankings. But I gave it my best shot. Let's do it.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. The Texas Longhorns.
Still think this is the best team in the league. Ruger Riejas on Friday. You got Harrison on Saturday. Volantis on Sunday. They're 4th in the conference in on-base percentage, 4th in stolen bases, 4th in fielding. And the only 2 losses they have in league play thus far through 3 weeks are a grand slam by Ole Miss to send things to extras, and then a fielding error by their center fielder to blow one at Auburn. They're very, very good.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Mississippi State went to Oxford without their ace, McPherson, and swept Ole Miss. They lead the SEC in batting average. They lead the SEC in doubles, and they didn't need their ace to shut Ole Miss down. They are very, very, very good. Those 2 teams, to me, are a cut above.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia's up to 3 this week from 5. They lead the SEC in homers by a mile. It's not even close. They also lead the SEC in fielding percentage, which is pretty good. For their homer lead, they lead... They've got 85. Second place, which is Vanderbilt, has 62. That's a 23 home run difference. That's a big, big deal. It's a good team that Georgia has. I don't think they're Texas or Mississippi State, but they're very good.
The Auburn Tigers.
I don't know what to do. Auburn got swept, and I didn't move them because I don't know what to do with the rest of these teams here. Auburn leads the SEC in ERA. They have the second fewest walks allowed. I do have concerns about their offense because you might have a concern if you're 16th in homers and 14th in doubles. That's a bad deal. So I think their offense is going to be better. I think Renford's healthy and looking okay. I don't love Auburn. I like their pitching, but I don't know what to do. That I got them at 4.
The Florida Gators.
I moved Florida from 10 to 5. Liam Peterson's super talented on Friday. Aiden King's super talented on Saturday. They're 3rd in the SEC in strikeouts. They're not hitting a lot, but they've got a superstar in the lineup. I thought that was a pretty good weekend they just had after they got swept by Florida. I mean, they got swept by Alabama. They went and swept Arkansas on the road. 5th. I don't know. I don't even know if they're any good. They're 5th.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
I moved Arkansas back from 3rd to 6th. Their lead dogs have been terrible in SEC play. You'll remember these names from Omaha. Ryder Helfrich, who was thought of as a potential preseason SEC Player of the Year, in league play is hitting .219. Kuhio Aloy, who's not as good as his brother, who was the Golden Spikes winner last year, but he's a good hitter. He's hitting .172 in league play. Reese Robinette hit a homer off Cade Anderson in Omaha last year. He's hitting .188 in league play. Cam Kojal was a great player last year. Ball tipped off his glove that Jerry Jones hit. He was our second baseman from Omaha. He's hitting .200 in league play. All their really good hitters aren't hitting. That's why they got swept against Florida. I don't think they're terrible, but I had to back them up a little bit. I got them at 6.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama's been 14th since I started. I had to move them up to 7. They swept Florida and Auburn the last 2 weeks, and I got Florida and Auburn ranked 4th and 5th. What do I do with Bama? They also got swept at Kentucky. They're 4th in the league in ERA. Faye threw a no-hitter. Zane Adams is pretty good. They got Justin LeBron. Brady Neal's hitting everything in sight. Bama appears to be okay. I moved them up from 14 to 7.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky did not impress me, except for Jackson Jelkin on Friday. He's good in a year where the SEC Aces don't look great to me. You know they lead the league in stolen bases. You know Tyler Bell's getting healthier, played some shortstop this week. I don't believe they're a championship-level team, but they're in the middle of the pack because they got a good ace. They run. They try to manufacture some stuff, even though they don't hit doubles and homers. I got Kentucky at 8.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Vanderbilt at 9. That's up from 11 last week. They're 2nd in home runs. They're 5-1 against LSU and Tennessee. That's pretty good, but their pitching is very hurt and not very good. It's 15th in the SEC in ERA. Yeah, they got swept at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's really good. They might sweep a lot of people, so I can't hold that against Vanderbilt too much. I've got them at 9.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
I'm concerned about Oklahoma. I had them at 6 last week. I've got them at 10 now. LJ Mercurius is supposed to be really good for them. He's thrown 12 1/3 innings in SEC play, and he's allowed 13 earned runs on 20 hits. He's given up 3 homers. He was pretty good against LSU. He was terrible against A&M and even worse against Texas. So that's a concern. I don't think Cam Johnson's any good. Oklahoma doesn't hit a lot of home runs either, so I don't love this team, but they did come to the box and win 2 out of 3. They did beat A&M 2 out of 3, so they've done something. I've got them there at number 10.
Texas A&M!
Aggies had a big week from Gavin Grahovac. They went up there and beat Missouri all 3 games. Caden Sorrell's great. They're 3rd in the SEC in batting average. That's good. They're 3rd in the SEC in doubles. That's good. I don't love their starting rotation, and their best bullpen arm is hurt. They don't have a lot of stuff out of the bullpen either. They don't strike guys out. So they've got flaws, but I've got them at 11.
The LSU Tigers.
I moved LSU up from 13 to 12. You've got an inconsistent ace. You've got a poor defense, and you've lost 2 out of 3 of your series. But your offense appears to be coming along a little bit. You still strike a ton of guys out. William Schmidt looks to be pretty good. It's flawed. I've got you at 12.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss is 13th. They got problems. They're 15th in the SEC in hits offensively. They're 15th in doubles. They're 13th in on-base percentage, and they strike out the most. Again, offensively, 15th in hits, 15th in doubles, 13th in on-base, and 16th dead last in strikeouts. That is a problem. Now, pitching is 2nd in the SEC in strikeouts, and I'll give Ole Miss credit for this. They have played Texas and Mississippi State, who are the best 2 teams in the league. So this might not be right, and they may have just faced some really good teams, but they haven't looked great in the midweek. Lost a miserable game to Memphis. They did beat Kentucky 2 out of 3 at home. We'll see. LSU's going there in a couple of weeks, but I got Ole Miss at number 13.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols are the biggest dropper this week. They go from number 8 to number 14th. They are 14th in the SEC in batting average. They're 15th in steals. They're 14th in runs. Their Friday night guy just got moved from Friday to the bullpen. That's not great. They were swept over the weekend in Nashville, even though they could have swept Vanderbilt. They were in all 3 games and got walked off in all 3. Somebody's got to be 14th. I put Tennessee there.
The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri's 1-8, but they're better. They're 6th in the SEC in batting average, 5th in stolen bases. The pitching's the problem. They're 16th in ERA, 16th in walks allowed, 15th in doubles allowed. They give up walks. They give up hard contact. They're not good at pitching. Their offense has been a little bit better. They've been in competition in some games. They competed with Auburn. They competed with A&M. They competed with Tennessee. They've competed all 3 weekends. They're just not any good. That's why they're 1-8.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
They've tried. They're scrapping, but they don't have an ace. They don't have a bullpen. They don't hit for power. They're awful. They're trying. They're awful. They're 1-8. LSU will see them in the box here in about 5 weeks. So that's your power rankings. Texas at the top, Mississippi State at 2. Those are the best 2 teams. Georgia looks really strong. That's 3. After that, whatever you want to do. I've got Auburn at 4. They just got swept. I got Florida at 5. Arkansas at 6. I think they could go to Omaha. Alabama at 7. That's up 7 spots from 14. I've got Kentucky at 8. Vanderbilt at 9. Oklahoma at 10. Then I've got LSU, A&M at 11. LSU at 12. Ole Miss at 13. Tennessee at 14. Mizzou at 15. And South Carolina at 16. Those are your SEC power rankings. Now, here's an exercise I like to do as well to bring it back local. What does LSU have left on the schedule based on my power rankings? Well, you play at number 3 Georgia. That's a really tough series. You have Florida coming to the box. They're ranked 5th. That should be a tough series. And then you got to go down to number 11 for the rest of the series. You play A&M, who's 11th. You play Ole Miss, who's 13th. You play Tennessee, who's 14th. You play South Carolina, who's 16th. So still on your schedule, you've got 3rd. Oh, sorry, I missed 2nd. My bad. 2nd and 3rd. 5th, 11, 13, 14, 16. You do not play number 1 Texas. You do not play number 4 Auburn. You do not play number 6 Arkansas. You do not play number 7 Alabama. And you've already played Kentucky, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma, who are 8, 9, and 10. By my logic, LSU has played the middle of the league, 8, 9, and 10. Being 4 and 5 at that point is not all warm and fuzzy. But good news is the next 2 weekends are against number 14 and number 13. They're on the road, but they're 14 and 13. And the next weekend's against number 11. Who knows? Who knows what we know? I don't feel great about it. Those are my power rankings. We'll come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Look, it may not be a huge renovation. They can do those at One Bath and Closets. Brand new closets, rip out a shower, throw in a tub, put in a closet in the bathroom, redo the vanity with the floors. They can do all that. But sometimes it's something quick and simple. If you've got a bathtub that doesn't work or you don't use or is ugly, get rid of it. Put in a gorgeous walk-in shower, change the look of your bathroom, change the functionality of your bathroom, add some value to your home. Let David Duvall come in and do it. You can see pictures of his great work at onebathandclosets.com. You can get a consultation that's free. That doesn't cost you a cent. And if you decide to move forward with David and his team, you can get financing 18 months, 0% if you qualify. That is same as cash. They're going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email LockeMeredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. Major shout out to all the Uber drivers out there getting folks around the 225. Appreciate y'all locking us in here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. One segment to go here on this Wednesday. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, well, shout out to the Uber drivers. So rumors are spiraling that the NFL is putting in place the replacement refs, and the NFL Player Association is not going for that, and they're trying to, back up the referees, saying that this can lead to injuries, and it's not good for the game that you're not trying to pay the referees and trying to just shoo them to the side and replace them. So is the NFL doing wrong by not paying the referees? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Look, if we can ship teams more than halfway around the world to go play in Australia, we can shake the couch cushions for a few more $1,000 for the refs.
Yes.
What are we talking about here? We got how many games in a weekend, especially on like a bye weekend? You got like 13 games?
It's a lot.
You got 13 games. We got like 8 officials for those games.
And probably 2 overseas.
You're talking about this is no money. It's not even a rounding error. I mean, how much more money do they want to get? Like $20,000 a year? It's just like it's completely irrelevant.
It is, and it makes no sense that a more than $1 billion organization is having, instead of just paying them, like, we'll just replace you guys with some stand-ins. That's just crazy.
If anybody in the administration at Guarantee's listening, I'll take a $20,000 raise. However, Guarantee, not a multi-$100 billion whatever. I mean, just $100 billion is a little bit much, but multi-billion-dollar organization like the NFL.
Well, Hunt, if they keep playing every day of the week, they'll get there. They'll get there. All right, so the Detroit Pistons defeated the Toronto Raptors yesterday, and this is significant because this is the longest climb the Pistons have since. This has been a long time coming. It's been 18 years. 18 years since they have won the division title since 2008, 2007. Well, 2007, 2008. This is 2 years after leading the league in losses, 28 straight losses. The Pistons are now 51-21 with 2 All-Stars. So is this a tell that, don't give up on your team. You can get out the mud. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
I mean, look at Detroit. The Tigers are the favorites in the Central. They're maybe the favorites in the American League.
Sign Scooble.
I know.
Sign Scooble.
Well, they may not do that.
I'm about to say sign Scooble.
But the Lions are good.
They are.
And the Pistons are good. Life is good in Motor City.
Wow.
Everybody's moving to Detroit. It's a destination.
I didn't think about that. The Lions, the Pistons, and the Tigers
It's a great day to be. They're basically the new Boston.
Wow. That is, when you really say it like that, the baseball team is good, the football team is good, and the basketball. For Detroit, we're talking about. We ain't talking about Boston, like you said, or L.A. We're talking about Detroit, and now they have 3 premier teams. What is going on?
That's a beautiful thing.
We are in the end times. So that's it for Take and Leave. I cannot believe that. I cannot believe that. They have 3 teams better than both my teams combined.
Yeah.
3 teams.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trade Zion. Maybe the Pistons will take Zion. Give you Cade Cunningham for him.
Please, they'll give us a big shot, maybe a po' boy or something like that.
Give you a 2028 second rounder.
Yeah, we'll get a $2 bill. Yeah, give us one of those.
Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Still time to get into that pool of your dreams. I tell you every week. Text our guy, Joey Blanchard. That's the best way to get in touch with him. I'm going to give you his phone number. Send him a text. Say, I heard you on Hunt's show. I want to talk about a pool. He'll do it. 225-252-7745. All right, busy show today. Talked some LSU football, some Lane Kiffin sound early on. Talked about LSU and Southern. Talked with Koki Riley, previewing LSU and Tennessee, kind of talking about where this team is. Did some What If Wednesday as well. I got into some LSU basketball. I've done some digging on that side of things as well. There's lots to get to on today's show. If you missed it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Tomorrow, going to be very busy because we don't have a Friday show. So we'll do an LSU football practice report. They'll be on the field tomorrow morning. We'll get you ready for LSU in Tennessee. Final Four's coming up. We'll have some Saints talk as well. So lots to do. Hope you have a safe and happy Wednesday. We're back tomorrow. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, FabryChevrolet.com. FabryChevrolet.com is that website. The entire inventory is online at the website. I know we live in a digital world these days. That is quite obvious. So if you want to start your buying experience online, you can do it at FabryChevrolet.com. You've got a great inventory of SUVs. So if you're looking for a new car to get behind the wheel and get that family in to head to the beach or to head wherever you're going once school gets out here in a few weeks, go up to FabryChevrolet.com. Check out their inventory of Chevy Tahoes. Check out the Chevy Suburbans as well. Maybe you're looking for a GMC. A Yukon or Denali might be a great fit for you as you get ready for that new car for the summer. You're going to have a great customer experience at Fabry Chevrolet GMC if you go. So you can start online, but go to St. Francisville. Check them out, Highway 61 there under the Fabry family's umbrella, who's been in this town for 35 years. Great, great, great buying experience. Wonderful customer service. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. That entire inventory is online at FabryChevrolet.com.